तो स्टूडेंट्स, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ अ डेटा कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम, 4 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को हमने स्टडी किया था। स्टूडेंट्स, आज इन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को we'll elaborate on them a little bit further, and we'll go to an example of an email system, and we'll look at how an email gets from point A to point B in a data communication system, and how that communication system and the elements of that system, they have to adhere to those characteristics for the successful, accurate, and timely delivery of that email from point A to point B. Students, as you can see in the screen, it's precisely the same communication system that I've already introduced you to. But in this particular case, it's got a little bit of extra detail added to it. Students, as you can see, on the extreme left-hand side, we have got the source. And in this particular case, we have got an email, which is nothing but text, which is our information that's been originated from the source. Students, number 1 shows the input information by a symbol M. Students, source में ये email को produce किया. In your particular case, if you are writing an email from your laptop, then your laptop or your computer is your source. Students, this source converts this email or the text into a digital bit stream. Being a student of computer science, I'm pretty sure you are well aware of the binary system or the digital bits. If you're not, then we are going to be talking about that as well. But for the discussion's sake, at this point in time, source converts the text or the email that you write into the digital bit stream and then gives it to the transmitter. Ye converted format jo hai, that is represented in this particular case as G as a function of time. Now students, transmitter receives this information and the transmitter knows that this digital bit stream is not capable of being transmitted over our transmission medium. What am I talking about out here in terms of transmission medium is, if your transmission medium is a copper wire, for example, your digital bit stream cannot be transmitted over a copper wire. What will we do about it? The transmitter will convert that digital bit stream into the analog signal. We are representing this analog signal as the transmitted signal and S as a function of time. Students, this analog signal ST will then be transmitted over a transmission medium or the system that we have. Once again, it can be wired, it can be wireless, and it's transmitted all the way to the receiver. Once again, it's transmitted to the receiver in the analog format. Students, because of the different factors that impact the analog signal strength when it's transmitted over the transmission medium, the received signal is not exactly the same that we transmitted. ST is now represented by R as a function of time T. What am I talking about? Students, when you transmit data in the form of analog signals over a transmission medium, say, for example, copper wire, one of the factors that I can give you an example for is that the analog signal is reduced in its amplitude. The analog signal loses a bit of power because of the heat dissipation over a copper medium. Similarly, if your transmission medium is not a copper wire, but it's wireless, because of multipath fading, because of interference, your actual signal that you have transmitted, it gets lost. It changes its form, and it is not an exact and an accurate replica of what was originally transmitted. Students, receiver will receive this analog signal and it will try to recreate that signal using multiple techniques that we will study about, and it will try to recreate this signal in the form of a digital bit stream that we are calling as the G-T in this particular example. So as you can see, receiver received an analog signal and converted it into a digital bit stream while trying to get an exact replica of the digital bit stream that we transmitted in step number 2. Now students, this digital bit stream is now transmitted to the destination in the format that your receiver can understand. So the email in the form of a text that you transmitted from the source got converted to a digital bit stream, got converted to an analog signal so that it can be transmitted over a transmission medium, got converted into the digital bit stream again by the receiver, and then that digital bit stream is converted into the text or the email that is received in the form of an output information M dash by the receiver. So students, in this example of an email reaching from point A to point B, you have seen that, number one, how a text that you have produced in your computer reaches from the source all the way to the destination where you want to send it, and how it has to adhere to the characteristics of a efficient communication model or a system in terms of its delivery, in terms of accuracy, in terms of timeliness, and in terms of jitter. Thank you very much, students.